Greetings everyone, my name is Leonard Andrei Samaniego and I'll be discussing the database of our system. So as you can see in our SQL code, we have a create database dbShop and use dbShop. So it begins by creating a database named dbShop and then selecting it for use. So next, as you can see here, we have a table for users. So this table stores user information including a unique ID, username, email, password, role, customer or admin, and creation timestamp. And both username and email are unique and it cannot be empty. So next we have a table products. So in this table, it holds details about the items for sale such as a unique ID, name, category, description, price, stock quantity, the image path, and the ID of the admin user who added the product. So the admin user ID is a foreign key referencing the user's table, and if an admin user is deleted, this field is set to null. So next, so you can see from this code, we have a insert command here. So insert some sample data, and it is inserted in the users table for an admin user and into the products table with several art supply items. So next is we have a table for the user cards. So now this table tracks items currently in a user's shopping cart, linking a user ID to a product ID and quantity. So it includes a unique key constraint to ensure a user can only have one entry per product in their cart and foreign keys referencing the users and products table with cascading deletes. So next is we have a table for the orders. So this table records information about customer orders including a unique ID, the user's ID, a unique ID, string, and customer name, email, address, and a JSON field for items, as well as the subtotal, delivery fee, the total amount, payment method, status, and order date. So here we have a foreign key user ID referencing the user's table, and it will be set to null on user deletion. So next is we have a table order items. So this table holds the details about the individual products within an order, linking to the orders table. So it includes the order ID, product name, image, quantity, and price. So it has foreign keys referencing the orders and products tables with cascading delete for the order link and setting to null for the product link. And lastly, we have a table for the returns. So this table manages product returns requests, storing a unique return ID string, order number, email, product name, the reason, details, status, request timestamp, and optional links to the user and product records. And it also includes an admin remarks field and an updated at timestamp. So it has a foreign keys reference to the users and products table, and upon deletion, it will be set to null. So that's only for the database of our system.
Greetings, I am Eunel, Angelo, and Guarte, and I will be explaining to you the UserRegistration.php. So here we will start at the body. So in the body we have the div class main container, which contains all of the form, the messages, the button, and more. So we have this. We will start with the form container, which contains the two containers or the two forms that would be shown to the user. First, we have, of course, the header, inspiration station, and the header for welcome. So the first form that is visible to the user would be the login form. So here's the login form. Form with the ID login form with the action process underscore login.php and a method of post. We will use post because the values that would be inputted within our text field would be sensitive since it is a username and the password. So here we have a username text field which is required. Same goes with the password, which is also required. So after that, we have the login button. So next is the register form. So at default, it is hidden since again the login form is the first one that is shown to the user. So form with the ID register form, action process underscore register.php, method post. So again, the style, it is at default none, or the display is none, therefore it is hidden. We have the role drop down, the username text field, email, password, confirm password, and here we also have a div which states password do not match. So at first it is at default it is hidden since it will only appear or will show in the form on if the password or the value in the confirm password doesn't match the values on the password text field. So obviously again we have the register button. At the very bottom of the two forms we have the link or the toggle link. So here is how we would toggle between the login form and the register form. So the logic will be explained there later on the script. So we also have the modal shown after the success. So technically it is just a pop-up message to tell the user that the registration is a success. So here we are in the script. So here it here is the function to switch between login and register form. So we will get the ID of the link that is what I mentioned earlier. So we will put a click function on the toggle form link. So we would put prevent default, and we would put the log with the toggle function between the login form and the register form. So we would also put a toggle between the text. So if the user is in the login form, the linked text would be this one. So else, if the user is in the register form, this is the text that would show up. So next we have the validate password function. So here it is just to validate whether the confirmed password is the same as the password value. No. After that, we have the show success modal if URL has a message. So in this function, it only runs when the entire document is loaded. So it checks the parameter of the URL. If the URL have or has the text message, it will show the success message or the pop-up message. So this one, the modal success. So that is all for the user registration.php. Again, I am Angelo Guarte and Dangal greetings.
Okay, so Dangal greetings. My name is Gian Candelario, and today I will be explaining the process registered PHP. So let us start. So of course, we start with session start to start, which starts the session. Then after that, we connect to MySQL database called dbShop. Then after that, we try connecting using PDO, which is right here. We try to connect to the database using PDO, and if it fails, we show an error message and stop. Then below that, we handle submission, and over here, we check if the form was submitted using a post method. Then below, which is right here, uh, we um, gets the which we get the form input and make sure that the two password matches and in which is right here, and if it doesn't match which sends the user back with a message. Then over here we insert into the database right here. uh, it encrypts the password using MD5, and then it inserts the user into the database. And then uh, over here, which is here, which stores the user info into the session and then redirects it to the correct page based on their role. So, for example, if the role is admin, we go to the admin page, and if not, uh, we just go to the home page. Uh, and to catch our error, if the registration fails, we just go back to the form with an error message, which is right here. So that is all for the process register. Thank you for listening.
Greetings everyone, my name is Larren Rosales and I'm here to discuss the first half of index.php. So start here, we encounter the session start which starts the session of the web page. And now here is where we are directed to the registration page once the user hasn't still logged in, because once we start a website from the local host, it automatically uh, finds the index.php, and from here, if the user hasn't been logged in, it redirects us to the user registration.php. And now here is where we will be redirected to the admin page, which is the productInventory.php, if the user logs in using an admin account. Now here is where we establish the connection with the SQL database. And now moving forward, we have here the start of the HTML structure, starting from the doc.type.html, the heading, and the style. And now here is where our navigation bar is located. Navigation bar contains the home button, the cart button, the history, and the returns button, as well as the logout button on the other side. Now we have here a hidden confirmation message or successful message that will only show up once you added the product to the cart. So it says product added to cart successfully. And now here we have like just an card that is for aesthetics, which basically just talks about our website, and a brand deal sort of message that is that moves thanks to the styling and the script.
Greetings everyone, I'm Mae L Frisco, and for this part, it is designed to filter products in real time based on user input in a search bar. When the user types in the input field with the ID search, the function retrieves the entered value and converts it to lowercase, removes any extra white space to ensure consistent comparison. It then iterates through all elements with the class product card, which represent individual products, and check if the product's name or category includes the search term. If a product matches the input, it is displayed. Otherwise, it is hidden. A Boolean flag has match is used to determine if any matching products were found. If at least one match is found, a predefined no results message is hidden. If no matches are found, the script checks whether a no results element exists. If it does, it is shown. If it doesn't exist, a new message is dynamically added below the product grid to inform the user that no products match the search criteria. Additionally, if the user clears the search box, the script will display all products again and remove any no results message, effectively resetting the view. Finally, an event listener is attached to the search input field to detect any change as the user types. On each input, the script clears any existing no results message and triggers the filter products function to reevaluate the product list. This ensures that product filtering is dynamic, responsive, and user-friendly. Thanks everyone, I am Mae L Frisco, and this PHP script handles the shopping cart of inspiration using sessions and optionally updates the cart in a MySQL database if the user is logged in. The code uses PDO for secure database interaction. So, session start is essential because it keeps track of a user's activity across pages, like which items they've added to the cart. Without it, the cart would reset on every page load. The getDB connection cart function is a secure, reusable way to connect to the MySQL database dbShop using PDO. It sets error mode to exception, so you're alerted if something fails. And the function uses try-catch to avoid breaking the app if the connection fails. Instead, it logs the error for developers to debug later. So before working with the cart, we ensure it exists in the session. If not, we initialize it as an empty array. This prevents error when trying to add or display items later. Then we check if the user is logged in by looking for a user ID in the session. If the user is logged in, we can link cart items to them in the database. This helps restore their cart if they switch devices or revisit later. When a user submits a form to add an item to their cart, this block is triggered. So it checks if product ID is a valid number and if quantity is a positive number. If invalid data is found, so for example, negative quantity or non-numeric product ID, it redirects the users with an error message and prevents the changes to the cart. If the item already exists, it increases its quantity, and if it's a new item, add it with all its detail. So if the user is logged in, this step saves the cart to a user cards table. It uses the insert on duplicate key update so that it either adds a new row or updates the quantity if the item already exists. This ensures persistent storage, useful for logged-in users who might leave and come back. So this whole process ends with a redirect back to the page with a success status in the URL. So this part removes an item from the cart based on its ID passed in the URL. It first validates that the remove ID is numeric and positive. Then it filters the session cart to remove that item. After filtering, array values the indices the cart array to avoid gaps in the key which can cause display issues. If the user is logged in, it also removes the product from the user cards table using a simple delete SQL statement. The user is then redirected with a message like product remove for the UI feedback. So this block allows user to increase or decrease the quantity of a cart item, usually through plus or the minus buttons. So checks that the item ID is a valid number and ensures the action type is either increase or decrease. So in session updates, it loops through the session cart to find the item. So if found, increase quantity by 1 if the action is increased, decrease quantity by 1 if the action is decreased, but only if the quantity is above 1 to avoid going to 0 or negative. And it also saves new quantity to use for the database update. So if login, it updates the item quantity using an SQL update statement in the user cards table. It redirects with a success or error message based on the outcome. If the item wasn't found or if the action type was invalid, the user is notified accordingly. So this ensures real-time cart updates, consistent UI feedback, and persistent cart state for login users.
So greetings, I'm Haidee Fajardo, and today I'm going to explain the HTML structure of cart.php. So let's start. So for this part of the code, which is the nav bar, it is only the navigation link for users to go back to the home page whenever they want to, which is the index.php. Now let's start with this one. So this block checks for status and message values in the URL and safely displays a corresponding alert box to the user. It uses HTML special chars to avoid excess attacks and restricts messages to only predefined options in the allowed messages array, ensuring users can inject custom or malicious text into the page. Next, so this is where the table for displaying cart items starts. For this one, this section loops through each item in the session's cart and extracts its data, like for example the ID, the name, the price, the quantity, and the image, applying default values if any are missing. It also calculates the total price per item by multiplying the quantity by the price, preparing these values for display in the HTML cart table. So now, for the cart item rows, this is the whole code for it. So the HTML row renders each product in the shopping cart with a checkbox to select it for checkout. The product's image, the name, the price, the quantity, and the total cost. It also includes 3 action options, buttons to increase or decrease quantity, which is submitted as post forms, and a remove link, which is submitted via get, which triggers a confirmation before removing the item from the cart. Next, for this one, so this section displays the overall grand total cost of selected cart items and contains a form for submitting the checkout. The checkout button is initially disabled and only becomes active when the user selects at least one item via the checkboxes, ensuring users can submit an empty checkout. Now let's move on to the JavaScript part. So this function, which is the update grand total, it calculates the grand total of only the selected items by multiplying each item's price and quantity and updating the display accordingly. It also enables or disables the checkout button based on whether any items are selected and shows or hides a validation message when appropriate. Now for this one. So this script runs when the checkout form is submitted, checking if any items have been selected. If not, it cancels the form, submission, and shows a warning message. If items are selected, it dynamically creates hidden input fields containing the IDs of those items, allowing the server, which is the checkout.php, to receive and process only the selected products during checkout. And that is all for the cart.php. So, greetings, I'm Haidee Fajardo, and today I'm going to explain the checkout.php. So, let's start. So this block starts the PHP session and checks whether the user is logged in by verifying the existence of session, user ID. If the user is not authenticated, they are redirected to the registration or login page with an appropriate message, preventing unauthorized access to the checkout functionality. Next. So this function generates a unique order ID by combining the current date in YYMMDD format and a 6-character uppercase alphanumeric string derived from a hashed random number, ensuring each order has a distinct and traceable identifier. Next. So this block connects to the MySQL database using PDO, configuring it to throw exceptions for errors, return data as associative arrays, and use real prepared statements for better security and performance. Next. So these lines initialize form field variables with submitted values or set them to defaults if not submitted, allowing the form to retain user input between submissions and generating a new order ID if not already present. Next. So this code checks if the form was submitted with selected product IDs and filters the session card to include only the selected items which will be processed for the order. So the next one is the form and payment validation. So this block performs validation for required fields and payment-specific fields, such as ensuring credit card details follow proper formats or that e-wallet fields are not empty, adding relevant error to messages to guide user correction. Next, this part calculates the subtotal by multiplying item prices by quantities and then adds the region-based delivery fee to compute the final total, which will be stored in the order record. Next. Okay, now for this one, this is the database transaction. A database transaction is initiated to atomically insert the order, insert individual items, and update product stock. If everything succeeds, changes are committed, otherwise they're rolled back to maintain consistency. So this is the whole code for that. And around here is this code. So before finalizing the order, this part checks if enough stocks exist for each item. If stock is insufficient, it shows an exception, halting the process and triggering a rollback to prevent overselling. And for the last one, so after a successful order, this snippet removes the purchased items from the user session cart by rebuilding it with only the items that were not part of the current checkout, keeping the cart accurate for future orders. And that is all for this part of the checkout.php.
Hello, greetings everyone. I am Alyssa Brillante, and I am here to continue the discussion of checkout.php. So in checkout.php continuation, we have this part of the code that links back to cart page and this part of the code that link to go back and shop more. Now for the PHP, so this part only shows if the show receipt is due, order placed successfully, and there are no errors. Now this is the header for the order receipt, and this one is the receipt details. So this shows the unique order ID using HTML special cars for security to prevent XSS. So other fields such as name, email, address, payment method follow the same logic. Next, we have the conditional payment display, which is this part. So this block only renders if the user select credit card as their payment method, as well as if the user selects the e-wallet. This part of the code show the list of product included in the order, and this part iterates over each product in the cart and displays its details such as name, quantity, price, and the subtotal. Now this part of the code shows the subtotal of all items, and this one is for the delivery fee, shipping, and shipping cost. Next, we have the simple message for the customer, which is this part. So this is to confirm message to reassure the user, and then this part prints the receipt via browser. This part of the code is the fallback. So if conditions for receipt display aren't met, this shows the checkout form again. And this one is the error display. So display a list of error messages if the form was submitted incorrectly or missing information. So this part of the code keeps the product selection in memory even if the form has errors by using hidden fields with product IDs from either post or session-like sources. Next, we have the hidden field to carry order ID, which is this one. So this keeps track of the current order by passing the order ID invisibly. Next, we have the user input field, which is this one. And we have the drop-down for region. And the payment method drop-down plus the toggle. So this allows the user to select a payment method and triggers a JavaScript function to show the wallet. To show the appropriate section, which are credit card or e-wallet. Here is the credit card details and e-wallet details. This one is the table for checkout item summary. This show items in a row. Then we have the submit button to confirm order. Now for the JavaScript, we have the function toggle payment details, which is this part. So this part shows only the relevant payment field section based on the current drop-down selection. And then this part of the code, the script runs once to ensure the correct payment section is visible, especially helpful when the page reloads due to an error or success message.
Greetings everyone, my name is Mejia and I will discuss the order history.php. This line of code start the PHP session to access session variable, and this will redirect if not login. This will check the user if logged in by verifying session variable user ID and user. For the next line of code, which is database connection using PDO for consistent with your original order history.php. This will establish a connection to the MySQL status database using PDO or PHP data object. Use try catch in order to set error mode to exception for easier debugging and fetch mode to associative array. And this is for the fetching user order from the database. As you can see here, it orders the result by order date, and descending to the recent order appeared first, which is here, sending, and use fetch all to execute. And we will skip this part because this is just the style for our web page and branding. So we will go to navigation bar. This part display order username to the login for the content and confirmation. This provides navigation link for the user to the home page. And this is for the history container in notification. This will just for the main content area for displaying the user order history. And this will handling the case if there is no order found, which is it checks if the user has any order. If not, it show a friendly message encouraging start shopping now. It provides a direct link to the start shopping if there is no exist order. And this line of code, this is loop through and display each order. This will iterate over each order in the $sign order array. This will display order number, status, and formatted order date and time. And this line of code will show the image if it is exists. And we use HTML special card, $sign item product image and product name. And we use TD style text align to make it center and right. So this is the number format, price for the price and quantity. And this is the N for the N for each. This is for fetching and displaying item per order, which is here. Just like I said while ago. This part line of code, this is for the order cost summary section. This will show the details for the order subtotal, which is we use strong to make it bold or capital letter, or subtotal delivery fee and total amount. And this is for the address and payment method. They are just same, and this is for the end of the end for each and if. And lastly, this is the footer, and this will provide a footer with a social media link icon for branding and user engagement, displaying also the copyright notice with current year. And I think that's all, and thank you.
So, greetings, my name is Gershan Carl, and I am here to discuss about the return.php file. And so, we begin with the session and database setup, wherein we first begin with the session, which is an important component of our project, as it is used for managing user-specific data. For example, the $_session within the user email to personalize or pre-fill the fields. We also use PDO or PHP data objects to be able to have a secure and flexible database interaction. We have here specifically the error mode _exception, which makes error handling easier. We also have here some fetch to fetch the result as associative arrays. Also, we have here the emulate prepares, which able to disable emulated prepares for safer and real prepared statements. Now, up next, we have here the form input for pre-fill handling. So for the form input, we have here the variable on order number input and also the variable email input from form, and a bunch of those over here. So we also have the pre-fill email variable to pre-fill email from our session if the user is logged in. And then we use HTML special character to be able to sanitize our session emails and to prevent some attacks when displayed in the HTML. So next we have here is the form submission, or the form submission logic, in which we have here the retrieval and the cleaning of the input values, and also cleaning of the details using HTML special characters, and also updating the variables for use in our return history. So we also have here the ensuring all the critical fields that are filled by our user. Up next is that we have the order and product verification, in which it basically is the heart of the script, wherein we ensure the return request is valid from the user. So the order ID is a public facing identifier. So we retrieve the ID as the primary key, and then the status as if it is delivered. So if the order status is delivered, and it must be delivered, we only allow returns on orders that are marked as delivered. So who would mark that as delivered? Basically the admin, and then if not, a meaningful error will be shown. So an error message will be shown. So next, we check if the product exists in the order. We verify the product if it exists in the order items table for the specific order. If it doesn't match, then we notify the user that the product wasn't part of their order. And then up next here is the insert return request, wherein if all checks pass from the variable return ID, this will generate a unique return ID with a ref prefix. So we also have here the return, which would get saved in the returns table. The status would be initialized into pending, and then we call now here for the timestamp, which is currently the current time in which the order is added. So when the order succeeds, it would have a success message. It would store a receipt info in the variable of the show receipt content, and also it would clear form input variables. Now we move on to the return history fetching, wherein at the end we optionally fetch the user's previous returns, as it would run only if a valid email will be available. So either it comes from the login or the form input. The format of this date uses the date format for a user-friendly display. And then we have here some security by using the PDO. We can see that at the top. You can see the HTML special characters. We also use trim inputs from the user, also returning the IDs for its unique IDs. So basically that's all for my part, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bon. Greetings everyone. My name is Mejia, And now I will discuss the order his return.php, the second part, which is this is the navigation bar. This will display the currently logging username from the session if available to help the user confirm their login status. And this is the main container and page header. This will display a clear page header indicating this page is for submitting and viewing return and exchanges. This will show the success or error message for form. This will be the feedback message. And this part is return receipt display. This will show the return receipt if form was submitted successfully. This is the purpose if the return request was successfully proceed. This section display receipt summarizing all the submitted return details, and also we use echo HTML special char to show all submitted data back to the user, which is return ID, order number, email, product, and reason, and other um, important details or relevant info for the user references. We also return info message after submitted it, and we put button for submit another request, which is here. This part is the return policy if if the item is incorrect or damaged, and this is some important details or notes for the user. This line of code is for return policy or return request form, which is this display policy explain eligibility and timelines and condition for return. And it will the form gather necessary details like order number, your email address, product return, and reason for return. This and we also use drop down for reason offer standard return reason. Here, if it is a wrong item, there should be a specific reason for um, giving giving it or returning it back. So this line of code is for return history table, which is this will help user track the status of previous return easily in a tabular format, which is here. And this table includes important field, which is return ID, order number, product, reason requested, on, and status. And also it will show each past return request. And if the user is not logging in an email is not known, prompt the user log in or submit a request to view the history. Which is this part. And we use for TD HTML special char $sign return item for the showing the each past return request. And lastly, and also this will only show this if not showing a result and email if still unknown, just like I said while ago. And this is end of the end if this line of code is for the footer. This will associated with the social media links in order to give a presence or to enhance the branding and the engagement for the customer. And I think that's all for the return.php the second part, and thank you.
Okay, so greetings. My name is Gian Candelario, and I will be explaining the product inventory. So let's start. Of course, we have here the session start. This line starts the session so we can access the user data like login info. Then below that, we have here, this checks if the user is logged in and if their role is admin. And if not, they are sent back to the registration or homepage. This protects the admin page from other users. Then below that, we have here This stores the admin's user ID from the session to be able to be used later. Then below that, these lines over here, this line sets the database details like host, username, password, database name, and character set. Then below that, which is here, this creates a data source name and sets options for the PDO connection, like how to handle errors or how to fetch data. Then over here, um, this part tries to connect to the database, and if it fails, it shows the error and stops the code, which is here in the die. Then below that, over here, these lines create empty variables for messages and product editing. They will be used later when editing or showing products. Okay. Uh, the next we have here, delete product action. So in this part, I'll just explain the delete product logic. In here, we have it checks if the delete button is clicked here in the post request, and over here, it gets the ID to delete. Then it validates the ownership to prevent an unauthorized access. And in here, we also have if an image exists, it deletes the image file by using the unlink, and it deletes the product from the products table. Then below, we have edit product, load existing data. And over here, if the edit link or button is clicked, edit is passed via get. And it loads the product's current info like name, price, etc. And it validates that the product belongs to the login admin. And it also stores the product info in the edit product data to pre-fill the form. Then below, at the add and update product action, in here we have our common steps, which just grabs the input fields from the name, price, stock, etc. It also handles image upload. It creates a save file name, then saves the image in the upload/product, and then deletes the old image on update if changed. So uh, it confirms that the current admin owns the product and updates the rows in products with new info and image if there are any. And on add, we just insert a new product with all fields linking to admin user ID. So that's next we have mark as delivered action. So in here we just check if the admin is involved in that order or has products in it, and if so, update the order status from pending to delivered. And then next here where's here handle return request actions. So in here, it checks the return belongings to this admin from match return to product, then to admin, and then updates the return status to approve or rejected. Then we have fetch admin products. Here it just grabs all the products that belong to the login admin for listing. Then below for the fetch admin orders, here it gets the orders that contains this admin's products, and it also shows both the items this admin sold and all the items in the same order. Then lastly, we have fetch admin return request. Here it just fetches the return request, especially related to the admin's product, and also matches product name from the return form to the database product, which is r.product equals name here. And okay, so for the panel header and login user info, this part shows the title of the admin panel, and below that, it shows which admin is logged in using the PHP session user, which is right here. It also shows the admin's ID from the a PHP variable current admin ID. It's right here. Then below that, for here we have a display success or error message. In here, if there's a message to show, this part will display it. The message says like added successfully, it will show as a green success box. And if it's an error, it will be shown in red. And then for the start of the product form is here. This part shows the title of the form. If the admin is editing, it shows edit my product. And if adding a new one, it shows add new product. And then it starts a form that sends data to the productInventory.php. We also have hidden inputs for edit mode here. if we're editing a product, this hidden input sends the product ID and current image path, so we know which product to update. So for the product name input, this is the input box for the product's name. If editing, it fills the current name. Then for the product category dropdown, this dropdown let the admin pick a category for the product. It also keeps the selected category if editing. Next, product description, which is here. This is where the admin can write a description of the product, and if the editing, it shows the current description. Then below that, we have price and stock inputs. Here, the admin types the product's price and how many are in stock. The values are filled in if editing. Next, upload in image for the product. This part allows the admin to upload a product photo. If editing, it shows the current image and says it's okay to leave a blank if keeping the old one. Next, we have submit or update button. This is the main button, and if we're adding a new product, it says add product. If editing, it says product update product. Then below that, we have the cancel button, which is right here. If we are editing a product, this button lets the admin cancel and go back to the product list. So that's it. Thank you for listening.
Greetings, my name is Joemrich, Jovin, and Salcedo, and I'm going to discuss the product inventory. Now for the inventory table section. In this line, inventory table showing admin's product contains the div class inventory section. We start by creating a div with the class inventory section. This is where we show all the products that admin has added. And then for the table class inventory table is we create a table, a class with a class inventory table for styling purpose. And then for this line, it is all about the table header. Each th represent a column. We have image, name, category, description, price, stock, and some action like edit or delete. And then for this line, inventory body, if empty, admin products. Now we go into PHP, we're checking if the variables admin products is not empty, meaning the admin has added products. And then in this line, for each in admin products as row, if the product exists, we loop through them using a for each loop. Each product is stored in a row. And then for this line, here we check if there's an image for the product and if the file exists. If so, we display the image. If not, we just show an A. Then for this class, and then for this line print the product name and category. We use HTML special charts to prevent any special characters from breaking the HTML. And then for this class, and then for this line, here we show the product description. If it's missing, we show NA. We also set the title attributes so that full text appears when hovered. And then for this line, this display the product price formatted to two decimal places with a peso sign. And then for this line, this shows the stock of quantity available for the product. And for this line, this is edit button. It links to the same page with query edit using the product ID. And for this line, this is the delete form. It uses post and includes confirmation pop-up before submission. The product ID is passed as hidden input. And then for this line, if there are no product, we show a message saying you have not added any product yet, otherwise we finish the loop. And for this line, now move to the next section for orders. This show customers' orders for products owned by the admin. Then go, and then for the T head, for this line, this is the table header for the other table. For the T body, for this line, same logic as before. If order exists, we loop through them. And then for this line, we show all the order details here, from the ID to total price and even the status. And then this line, if the order is still pending, there's a form that lets the admin mark it as delivered. Otherwise, it just show a dash. And then for this line, again and again, if there are no orders, we show a message for that too. And then for this line, the last section handles customer return requests. And for this line, if there are return requests, we create a responsive table for them. And again, for this line, these are the header for return request details. In this line, we loop through each return request. To explain this line, each column displays info about the return, including the reason and when it was requested. And for this line, if the request is still pending, the admin can approve or reject it. Both bottom have confirmation dialog. And then for the logout button, this is in this line. Finally, at the bottom, there are a logout button so the admin can safely log out of the system. That's all. Thank you.
I'm here again to discuss the logout.php. So this one, which is the session start the session. The session destroy is the one who destroys all the session data, and this part of the code redirect back to login page with logout success message.
Greetings everyone, my name is Larren and Rosales, and I'm here to discuss you or give you guys a walkthrough of our website. So Inspiration Station, we are greeted with the login page. So from here, we can type in a username or password. So let's try signing up for an account, and let's choose the role for the customer. So username, let's use my name for now, and then email, and then password. So and then confirm password. So we can just click register, and it automatically redirects us to the index.php, which is the home page. So from here, we have our navigation bar, our home button, cart, order history, returns, and the logout, and some design features, and a search feature. So let's say color markers. As you can see, it automatically filters the results for you. And now from here, we have the footer, and with this we can just click anything at the cart, and as you can see we have our confirmation message, meaning that our item has been added to cart successfully. And now let's visit the cart. So from here we can increase or decrease the quantity of the products that are in the cart, and as you can see it dynamically changes its prices depending on the quantity. So it's now let's proceed to the checkout. So let's just give our full details in here, and let's select a payment method. As you can see, depending on the payment method chosen, we have varying forms. So just pick cash on delivery for easy transaction, and confirm our order. As you can see, it gives us our order receipt and gives us the ability to print it. And we can also continue shopping. So now we have our order history, which shows us that our order is pending. The returns, which allows us to return the product if, let's say, it's a damage or it's not the desired product that we want. But it's only acceptable once our delivered status has been changed to deliver, which we will be discussing right now as we log out from our customer account. So we have a default administrator account here, so it's the admin. So it's basically just admin. And as you can see, it redirects us to the administrator panel. So we can add a product here. So and we can also pick a picture of the product. So once we added that, as you can see, added successfully. And we can also edit the product. See, And rather than 20 pesos, let's say 50. As you can see, it automatically edits the product. Now from here, we have the order that we have just made earlier. So it's the admin's privilege to change the status of the orders that we are receiving. So as you can see, we can make it as mark as delivered. As you can see, it already changed the delivery status. You can also delete products user on the customer page. So once we logged out and go back to our customer page once again, as you can see, it's already decreased because we deleted products from the admin panel. And from here, as you can see, our order has been delivered. So to process and return form, we can just copy this delivery code and paste it on our return. As you can see, we can now proceed with the return form. So submit return request, and as you can see, return request submitted successfully. And from here, we can actually go back to the admin panel and check if the records have been reflected. As you can see, we can have the power to either approve or reject the form. As you can see, it changes the status of the order return form. And we can also see the effect when we go back to the customer page and see that it has already been approved, the return request. And that is all for our little e-commerce shop. Thank you for listening.